everybody. Welcome to the podcast where we motivate, inspire, and drive with stories from entrepreneurs from around the country. That's right, folks. Straight from their mouths to your ears, this is Hustle City, USA.
What's up, America? It's the Texas Real Estate Dude, and I am in the chair and hot on the mic here at Hustle City, USA with none other than my good friend and special co-host today, Bo Kidd. Bo, how the hell you doing today?
I'm doing all right today. Yeah, I'm doing good.
Are you sure you had to think about that a little bit?
I did. I actually had a nasty review come through on one of my lead generators today. It's got me pretty...
So you failed at cleaning some lady's chimney? How the hell does that happen, Bo?
Oh, it's a long story. It's a long story. But, yeah, first one.
First one, that's not bad, as long as you presented a good counter argument, because that's going to happen in your entrepreneurial world, right?
I'll just say it wasn't my fault.
It is never your fault, I agree.
That's what I'll say.
But the customer's always right, too, right?
Not this guy. This guy is definitely not right.
Well, just don't go back a second time. Just stay out of his neighborhood for a while.
Well, that's what I was thinking. He said, I definitely would not use this guy again. And I said, I definitely will not serve this guy again. So I think we're good.
Hey, you know, I was seeing on the internet today, speaking of guys and random guys, and I follow weird historical stuff sometimes just to pass the time, I guess. But D.B. Cooper, do you guys know who he is?
Yeah.
So there's been some new developments in his case after 45 years. They've put like a amateur scientific research team on it, and they found some chemical trace elements on the tie, the clip-on tie that he left in the plane. So they've done some chemical testing on it that, of course, wasn't available 45 years ago. And I'm reading this and I'm thinking about it, and I don't know the whole story. I've never dived that deep into it. But this guy jumped out of a plane with $200,000 cash. They never recovered him or the money or anything, and it was 45 years ago. Who in the hell gives a damn? Why are they still working on this? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah.
You know?
But one of my favorite movies of all time did come from that. You ever seen that movie Up the Creek or Without a Paddle? You ever seen that one?
I think I have. Yeah. Does that have to do with the D.B. Cooper story?
Yeah, that's where they're going. That's the whole purpose of the...
Oh, well, maybe I didn't see it then. So, Bo, I understand you've met somebody through your network and you brought him in today. Would you like to introduce our guest today?
Oh, man, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure. This is Tim. Tim is with...
Cross Breeze.
Cross Breeze. I keep wanting to say Bay Breeze, but it's a Cross Breeze window screens, and he actually called me out to his house, and I cleaned his chimney, and we got to talking.
Very nice.
He hasn't given me a review yet, but
he may not after today.
I need you to give me one, Tim.
I did, actually.
Because my stars are going down from this guy today.
I'll give you one. I thought I gave you one, actually.
But we hit it off. He's just getting started like I am, and we talked about some social media stuff, and so let's bring him in and get the two rookies in here and talk about it.
Toss some stuff around.
Yeah.
Well, Tim, we definitely appreciate you being in today. So it is Cool Breeze Screens, right?
No, it's Cross Breeze.
And I was looking right at your shirt when I said Cool Breeze. Because also, and a random stupid off-topic tidbit about me is I'm a big Leonard Skinner fan, and they do a song called Call Me the Breeze, which is also not Cool Breeze, so I have no idea where I'm going with that. So it's actually Cross Breeze Screens.
Right.
And residential and commercial, or just residential?
Most of it's residential.
Oh, yeah, see, I am just way off base today because most commercial places don't have window screens.
Most of them don't. They are some that do. I mean, solar screens. You'll see a lot of them on the fronts of the stores, and
I was going to get to that. So you do solar screens as well, and the traditional storm window screens.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Traditional screens, different types of window screens, sliding screen doors, and pull enclosures.
Oh, wow. So the big screened pool enclosures, I've seen some of those. So you could do the whole
enclosure.
Shebang, yeah.
Right.
That's pretty neat. Is that a different type of material or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. It's a tougher material, but it's not the solar screen because, you don't want
them too black.
Yeah, blacked out.
And the solar screens I've never purchased. I've always wanted them, but they come in different shades and variations and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah, that's correct. You have like 70, 80, and 90%, and that's what the heat value that it cuts out.
Okay. So tell me, and let's go back a little bit. Of course, I definitely want to dive into Cross Breeze as we get to that, but what brought you up to that? Tell us about you and who you are and where you started as a young man, what kind of experiences you've had.
Okay, well, it's been a pretty boring life to me.
Well, you need to step up your game there, Tim. What the hell? I mean,
Tim, we need to hang out, buddy. We need to hang out.
I used to be pretty wild in my younger days, but don't go there.
well, you don't have to go that far back. I mean, we like, but
Yeah.
Are you a native Houstonian? Let me ask you that.
I am not. I was born and raised in Pampa, Texas, up in the Texas Panhandle, and I eventually come down to Houston 20 years ago.
So you are a native native Texan. Then,
I'm a
right?
native Texan
Right.
and pretty well a native Houston.
Right. Oh, I love that. Yeah, because I'm a reloader transplant myself. I mean, I've been here about 15 years, so I figure I've got my Texas card now. But
Right.
it's always funny, and I was having this conversation with the person who wants to be a new JLA agent, and she's been here less than a year, and she's from up north, and I started talking to her about the rodeo, and she's like, I'm not going to the effing rodeo. And I was like, the hell you're not. You'll go to the rodeo or you'll get the hell out of Texas. I mean, come
yeah.
on. What? So there's such unique stuff about Texas. And you're a native Texan, Bo. Is that correct or not? From the Dallas area?
Well, James, you asked the hard-hitting questions. I was actually born in Oklahoma, but I don't like to tell people that. I moved here when I was 8.
Okay. So what, were you on the run at 8 years old or something? What the hell's wrong with Oklahoma, Bo?
Yeah.
You see, there you go again with these questions, man. I just don't. We'll leave it as I don't care for Oklahoma too much. I don't
Well,
care.
you were only 8, Bo.
I don't care for the football fans.
The Sooners, right, in Oklahoma? Yeah.
No, sir.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so I've got all that to deal with my uncles. It's a very sensitive subject, James.
It must be.
We'll leave it at that. So, Bo was reborn again at 8 years of age in the Dallas area, so we will consider him an official Texan from then. Yeah. So a native Texan,
Yeah.
and you grew up in the Panhandle area. Went to high school and stuff there.
Yeah, I went to high school in Spearman, Texas, about as far north as you can go in Texas.
That sounds like a tiny little town.
Yeah, it is. It's about 3,200 people.
30 to 100 people.
3,200.
It
It wasn't that small.
My family consisted of the whole town. So, and help me out geographically. I mean, we're close to Amarillo up there in the Panhandle. What were you
Up
closest
north of Amarillo, about 100 miles.
to? And is that what's the border there? Is that to Oklahoma?
The Oklahoma
Okay.
Panhandle is the border there.
Okay.
There's about 4 borders over there.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of
not too
weird right
far
there.
from the Colorado border. And
Right.
then, of course, New Mexico is on over a little bit more.
Right. And is that more? It's not the plains. It's not. Is it flat or is it more? It's a little rocky.
No, it's pretty flat and rocky. I mean, it has crevices, canyons,
Canyons and stuff.
more
So,
than hills. We don't have many hills.
so more like far east Texas and much different than sort of the coastal plains we have here in Houston.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
good deal. So at what point you said 20 years ago you came to Houston? What made that move for you?
Well, I started a business. I was in the oil field, and I started a compressor service business. I've always been a mechanic, industrial mechanic, so I've worked on a bunch of different engines and stuff. So I actually had my business for 10 years, and then the boom come or went, I guess I would say. Bad times come to the oil field. So after that, I pretty well sold my business out, got rid of it, and I had a friend that I'd done a lot of work for that had moved down to the Houston area.
Okay.
And he called me up and was wanting me, basically to come to work for him down here.
So can we kind of put a timeline on that? Because some of the oil history I've heard about Houston is it tanked around the 80s, but 20 years ago would have been more like the 90s. So did you make it through that tough period, or you started your business after that tough period?
Well, I started before it. I started in the early 80s and basically went through the boom, and about 85, 87, it started tanking
That's
up
when it
there.
started tanking,
Yeah.
okay.
So I come back down here into the oil field, and I've been in the oil field for about 30 years.
Now, were you self-employed in the oil field in Houston area, or you took a position
No,
with the
I
company?
took a position, a company position.
Okay. And
So
how did that work out for you? Because, like you said, the oil field's kind of up and down, and it has been down the past few years, kind of rebounding now. What did that look like? Do you mind saying who you worked for and what made you?
no, I actually worked out in the Bay for Vintage Petroleum, which I enjoyed tremendously. One of the only jobs that I've had that I could really say I enjoyed going to work, So I went and got my captain's license, and I had my own boat,
nice.
a crew boat that I worked out of.
Right.
And enjoyed that. And then as all things come to an end, they started selling everything out, and I did move to Florida, go down there for 5 years for a pipeline company.
Okay.
It was Florida Gas Transmission, which was owned by Enron.
Oh, wow.
So I got wrapped up in the Enron deal.
You're not wanted anywhere, are you? Or, I mean, there's no
I should
bad
have been,
history.
no.
You were like day trading or anything on the side?
No, I
or
wanted
okay.
to, but I wanted to.
Well, no, so let me ask you, that's actually a real serious topic you bring up. I'm sorry, I try to make light of it, but so did you have a lot of stock options in your 401k wrapped up in that at the time, or
I
not
did.
really?
I did roll my 401k over in it, and there it's gone. I mean, it's
really?
paper.
So you were one of those that
Yeah,
that lost
I didn't lose millions of dollars, but I lost.
Well, hell, losing $1 is a bad
Right,
day
you
for me.
lose a dollar, right? But
So coming back from Florida, you came back to Houston. Is that about the time that you decided you wanted to do something else? You had some new entrepreneurial pursuits, or?
no, I went back in the oil business.
Damn, didn't you learn your lesson? What the hell's going on? Been up and down 5 or 6 times, and you keep going.
Yeah,
it's like a bad marriage, Tim. What's going on?
You can always go there and make money. Most of the time you can make good money.
It kind of fun. I guess the cheaper to keep her.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Right. That's kind of how it works.
Right. No, I agree with that.
But after this last boom, I was working down in South Texas, and it's a horrible place. A lot of rattlesnakes and nothing but sagebrush,
So South Texas, I'm thinking more like Brownsville kind of area.
Not quite down that far, but south of San Antonio.
I know where you were. Three Rivers.
Three Rivers, Tilden.
Yeah, that's where my ambulance career took place, so I know
Really?
exactly where
A lot of rattlesnake bites in your past? or
Yeah,
not?
a ton of them.
Really?
Not on me.
Well, no. I know
I'm
what
too
you mean.
fast for
Right.
him, James.
Yeah. I have some rattlesnake skins in my, that I've tanned that was over 6 foot long.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, anyway, long story short, that company decided they was either going to put everybody on and they was going to move you down there or have you move down there, or you're going to get laid off.
Right.
So I took the latter of the two.
Right, and took the layoff.
Yeah. And that's where I met. I found this guy out of California and started visiting with him, and that's where I come up with this company.
With Crossbreeds. And how long have you been in business as Crossbreeds?
Since July.
Okay, so July of
16.
So
Yeah.
Going, I don't know, we're not even quite a year yet, right? We're still got summer of 17 to come up. So how's it been?
It's been interesting. It's been pretty slow, but, the holidays come through and, that shuts everything down.
Well, and I would think, your business is probably like most, it's got a cyclical component to it. I mean, people don't really think solar screens, I wouldn't think, when it's cold and not real sunny, right?
Right.
So do you have, well, you just started in July, but would you say that's sort of your peak season? Is that when you see an uptick, or?
Well, really the fall is going to be when people are wanting to open their windows to air their house out.
Well,
that's a
point.
good
Right.
Time. Also the spring,
Right.
when the humidity isn't
Right.
awful.
That 1 week in the fall and that 1 week in the spring when it's actually nice in Houston, right?
Right.
So we were talking a little bit pre-show that, and of course I think you mentioned as we were just talking that you had a business prior,
Right.
But that business was at a time where things were different than the current consumer base today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So what kind of things are you doing to reach your customers? What have you done so far that's been successful for you? What have you tried that maybe hasn't worked?
Well, I've tried Home Advisor. I got on Home Advisor, and they do pretty good. They need to educate their people because they tell you one thing and they do something else.
Right.
And so now I'm working with Yelp, trying to get lined up with Yelp. I've already got it. I need to do my bio on it and get that going. So I don't know if you guys been involved with that or not.
I've not done a lot of Yelp myself. I've heard people have success with it. Bo, do you use Yelp for your
No,
other
but
businesses?
I'm interested. I mean, Yelp type stuff, and that doesn't really work with real estate too much. But
Not
for,
with real
for
estate,
us,
right? For service-oriented businesses,
for the short, quick sale. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move.
What about have either of you guys? Let me throw this out. Have you tried Groupon or anything like that to get some?
Groupon sticks you in the pocketbook, man.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
don't
from
be
what I
such a cheap
understand.
bastard, Bo. Sometimes you got to put some money
I
out
think
there.
they take like almost half.
Wow, that sounds like
Yeah.
Home Advisor.
do like
That
a
was a cheap
retail.
shot, by the way, home advisor. I don't
Yeah.
agree with anything that Tim just said. Please let me pay my bill late.
You might edit this.
So raise your price and then discount it.
I guess you could do that if you wanted to be dishonest, James. You could do
Isn't that how all the retailers do it?
No,
I mean,
that is what they do. I think Groupon, they use it more like for next year's business,
Right.
to get a repeat client. So they're gonna stick you in the pocketbook. You're gonna give a really super cheap price, and your strategy with Groupon is more, let me wow them now and get their business later.
well, sure.
So Groupon, to me, when you're trying to establish your business, is not a winner.
Right.
After you're up and running, and then you can afford to give some stuff because you're pretty much giving it away.
Yeah, well, that makes
that
sense.
point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And like his business and myself, you'll have repeat customers, but that's about a one-time year
Right.
situation.
Do you do any repairs also? Like if the
Yeah.
kid falls through a screen or throws a ball through it or whatever, I don't know.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
You get drunk and fall through a screen.
No, that's never happened. Actually,
But-
a few screen doors maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then, what else are you doing to market yourself? And do you like, referral marketing? I mean, are you reaching out to realtors in the community?
I am.
Stopping by different brokerages? How's that kind of working for you?
That seems to be working all right. Like I said, I've been this is the third broker I've talked to, you guys, and everybody's real susceptible to it.
Right.
I, of course, leave cards and, talk to them, and, everybody needs somebody, like,
Well, we need people we can refer our clients out
right,
to.
that you know that you're going to get a good,
It basically it makes them look good.
right.
I got a guy.
Right.
I got a
Right.
guy. That's
And,
what
and
they want.
literally, I'll tell you, I've got probably almost a 15 to 17 year real estate industry career. Licensed in Texas since 07. I was in other facets of real estate for, but I've never met really a screen repair person.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I've had need before.
Right.
And I've seen other agents that have questioned it, and I was like, well, hey, I don't know who to refer you to.
Right.
Because a lot of times you get that guy that's a one-off handyman, and maybe he can do it, but somebody that actually... Now, let me not say it incorrectly. I know there's solar screen installation companies around. I just didn't know one.
Right.
So a lot of times I'll see the requests for repairs and things like that, and I didn't know who to send them to, or I didn't have a go-to solar screen person. So it's nice to make your introduction to them.
Yeah, I do hear that a lot from different people. It's pretty well a niche business,
But it's a huge niche. I think in such a big city, it seems like. I mean, and if there's not a lot of you guys, I mean,
right.
it
It
could
should,
be,
yeah,
it
should
be good
kick off
business
pretty
for
good.
you. So social media, let's get on that. I was telling you pre-show that we're a huge social media company here. You told me to do a little bit of Facebook. What can we talk to you about for social media? What would help you?
Well, I do have I have a website, of course, and I do have it managed through a IT professional out in California.
Okay, and what is that web address for our listeners, please?
It's cross screens. Hold on, screens at baytown.com.
Okay, and screens at baytown.com.
I did the same thing, by the way, the first time I said my website page on this.
I'm really wanting to look at my card and see.
I should have brought your card in. I have
I
it pinned
have
on
one
my
in my
wall.
pocket.
He keeps coming out with those hard-hitting questions, man.
Yeah, man.
Just get you all
Took
nervous.
me off balance.
So let's take it off topic then for a minute, and maybe we should have started here. Married, kids, family.
I'm married for 28 years.
Wow.
I got 4 kids. All of them's pretty well grown up now. My youngest is 23.
Any grandkids or no?
I have 4 grandkids.
Wow, that's
So,
good. That's exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's plenty.
Right. No, that's enough. Isn't it?
Yeah, they wear me out. I like playing with them, and they can wear me out.
So let me ask you this, and this is a big part that I love about entrepreneurship, is being able to balance our time and work by appointment and have our schedules planned and all that kind of stuff, which gives us time to be with those grandkids. Do you find, maybe the grandkids weren't there yet, but do you have more time with them now than, say, if you were still in some of those oil field positions? Are you able to capture more family time?
Oh,
now?
absolutely.
Yeah.
The oil field runs 24/7.
Absolutely, right.
And my first kid, I raised him, and missed a lot of the first time stuff. You
Right.
know. I was out working, or I was on the road. You
Right.
know, so I'm really glad that I come up with this.
Right. So, Bo, what questions might you have? What do you want to share today? What do you want to open up?
Well, I had about 4 questions lined up, and then I think you stole them all. I was wondering, so you had a business in the 80s, right? And now we come all the way to 2016, and you have a business.
It's a 2017 vote. It changed about almost.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm still. You can still cross that 6 and make it look like a 7.
Yeah.
He keeps nailing us to the wall with this stuff, man.
He's sharp.
Dude, yeah, hard-hitting interview.
He's not going to miss anything.
But my question is, what, and it's probably an easy answer, but what was the biggest difference you've noticed from trying to promote your business in the 80s and now?
Oh, it's definitely advertising. There's so much difference now than what it was.
Is it harder now to advertise?
Well, I can't say it's harder, but back then it was Yellow Pages, and that was about it.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what I would think, because I actually happened to come across in my neighborhood a guy that swept chimneys back in the 80s and 90s, pre computers blowing up,
right.
And that's what he said. He said, I just put an ad in the phone book,
right.
And I said, man, I wish it was that easy. It's kind of strange because it's super easy to put your name out all over the place, but it's super easy for everybody else to put their name out all over the place.
Right. And so you get overlooked.
Yeah.
So the one thing that makes me think from what Bo was saying, so in the 80s in that compressor business, and you were probably servicing the oil field, so you had a captive audience, right? You knew maybe what shops to go to, what rigs to go to, where to present your business to, even beyond that Yellow Page ad.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're in a business where almost every homeowner could potentially use your service.
Yes.
Like for a real estate agent, their inventory is every house in Houston, right?
Right.
So it's sometimes hard to connect with that end user. So you just have to be out there in front of them when they're ready.
Right.
And hope that you're top of mind and that you're the go-to guy for them because you've made a presence with them in your marketing and your content story back to your potential customers. I don't know. That's about all I got on that. But, I think you need to... My advice or my opinion would be, I always say that social media is now our Yellow Page ad because nobody really buys them anymore. I don't even know if they exist, right? I mean, the phone books are an inch thick anymore, and they used to be...
I saw one in a lady's bushes yesterday.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to go anywhere on that one, but... that just totally took me off topic.
Well, I did. But I was laying outside in the rain in the bushes, and I was like, "Those things are worthless."
Were you like a peeping Tom, or what the hell were you doing in this lady's bushes, looking at her house?
It was 10:30 at night, and now I was coming out of a customer's house. No, I was trying to say something legit. I was coming out of a customer's house, and I looked over in the bushes, and there was a crinkled up Yellow Pages in there, and I was thinking, I wonder how long that's been there. Like. Okay. I was actually thinking about this topic we're on right now.
Yeah.
I think he was peeping.
Yeah.
But we won't go there. That's another conversation. But so if social media is now your Yellow Page ad, and the Yellow Page used to get in front of so many people because everybody had one, how do we stay in front of our customers now? And there's the old traditional ways that a lot of people use and still work. There's, of course, cold calling, door hangers, flyers, postcards, all that. To your sphere or to your geographic farm and things like that a lot of real estate agents would use. But of course, everybody's using a lot of social media now.
Right.
And it's determining which one works for you or which 2 or 3 of the platforms work for you because it's hard to be on 6 or 8 and, you're Yelping here and tweeting there and Facebooking there and
right.
And sort of then honing in on what 2 or 3 work for you and then building your audience around that. And, and then maybe incentivizing them in some way, every 4th window free or something like that.
Yeah.
One thing, and maybe for both of you guys are people that have a service-oriented business and even people that don't, and I don't dabble in it much, but running Facebook ads and promotions like that, and then you can actually tailor down to the demographics you're looking for. I'm looking for people that have $300,000 plus houses in these particular zip codes that maybe have this level of education. Facebook will allow you to do that.
Right.
And I believe, Bo, even Instagram has ads like that now, Twitter paid ads. I would think for both of your service-related businesses, probably more like a Facebook ad is the most relevant. But
yeah, and you can really dial those things in, and I haven't messed with it at all either.
You can even look for people that like cats.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like cats because you're allergic, well, you can sort of say, I only want dog people
right.
in my demographics for my ad. and then pay a few dollars to see how that runs. And a lot of people have a lot of success with that by running multiple ads that are variations of each other, and then seeing which ones have the greatest response and when they're being responded to, and then you can push that ad more and let the other ones drop off, things like that.
Right.
But I don't know. So what about, I'm thinking of local events and things. Are you getting out to any local events or
Not really.
street fairs and things? Like where there'd be vendors and booths and promoting your business that way, or not necessarily?
No, not necessarily. I do believe it's all social media.
Right.
I think either Google AdWords.
There you go.
I have that, the Yelp, and then, Home Advisor. I mean, you can go on and,
Right.
Spend a lot of money. And,
Well, that's the thing. There's so many nowadays. You have to find out which ones work for you, so you're not throwing money at all of them. And
right.
One of our previous guests spoke on that. Right? It's like I don't recall exactly what he said, but he was talking about finding that niche in your marketing that where you're putting the best use of your dollars.
Right.
Well, you know what else I noticed is kind of strange in the I'm still stuck on the difference before and after concept, but it's kind of like it's kind of going to where now when you advertise on Facebook, you almost have to advertise without people know you're advertising.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? You've got to sneak
it
advertise
in there. Yeah.
Right.
because and I think that's like just the way the world is now, that we've been pelted with these commercials for like 50 years, and as soon as we hear commercial speak, we're tuning out.
Right.
We're hitting the DVR, we're fast forwarding, we're changing the channel. Like we're
Right.
not interested in a commercial. So when he was talking about going out to events, that's kind of, you're putting a booth out and advertising, but if you go out to an event and just talk to people but don't advertise, I think that's starting to turn into being a lot more powerful than saying, hey, have you heard about my $5.99 special?
No, absolutely, because you're building relationships with people, because
And that's what it's all about.
and I know just from meeting you today, this is the first time we met. I mean, you'll be my go-to screen guy because I don't have 5 or 10 others, and we've built a little bit of rapport, and I know your story now, and I know
Right.
why you're doing what you do. And that's more important to me sometimes than what you actually do, right? Does that make sense?
Well, right.
I want to
You
work
wanna
with
know the
people I can connect with.
and trust.
Right.
That's a big plus.
I think Bo fell asleep.
I did eat a sandwich before I came in here. Yeah. I thought last time it was National Sandwich Day.
It was National Sandwich Day a couple weeks ago, so you should not have had a sandwich today.
Yeah, well, I still think it's 2016, so, I'm still
A
eating
little
sandwiches.
behind.
Well, I think on that note, Tim, you want to tell us a little more about Crossbreeds and how we can reach you? And
Yeah, you can reach me. I carry a mobile cell, of course. My number's 832-341-2622. And you can get me go to my website at screensbaytown.com.
okay,
It is screens with an S.
with an S, it's
yeah.
plural. And Facebook page, you happen to know what the URL is for that? Facebook.com/screens of Baytown, or
I think it is. I don't know that.
no, that's okay. We can find that out, and I'll make sure that's in the clip when we run this thing back
Okay.
on the YouTube for you. Bo, do you have any closing statements for today?
Closing statements. Why? What are you looking for, man?
I'm looking to wrap up, man. Come on.
Well, let's wrap up. Closing statements. Glad to be here, James.
Sometimes they call them closing arguments in places you've been before, Bo.
Yeah, I'm here, man.
All right.
Good.
I'm the Texas Real Estate Dude. Thank you, Bo Kid, for sitting in with me today, and that's Bo Kid Agent on Twitter, at Bo Kid Agent. Also find him at McSweepy's Chimney Service. Is that correct?
Yeah, McSweepies.com.
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 And Tim Cook.
Tim Cook.
Tim Cook with Crossbreed Screens in today. Thanks for being in, Tim. We appreciate having you.
I appreciate you guys, what you're doing. I think it's a fantastic thing, and I'm glad to be here.
Tim, thank you very much. Texas Real Estate Dude, and we're out.